The world does not move for the most capable, nor does it pause for the most deserving. At this very moment, someone with a fraction of your intellect and half of your experience is ascending a staircase that was built for you. They are not there because of merit. They are there because they move with a conviction that feels like a law of nature. They speak without the tremor of hesitation. They occupy space as if it were their birthright, and, crucially, others believe them. While you are frozen in the sterile laboratory of self-analysis, waiting for the ideal timing or the perfect phrasing, the window of opportunity is being closed by someone who simply dared to reach for the handle. Certainty is not a personality trait you are born with. It is a psychological tool. If you are not the one wielding it, you are the one it is being used against. The ancient Stoics observed this brutal truth of the human theatre. The daring often advance even when unqualified, while the cautious remain stagnant despite their brilliance. This is not a message of comfort or a fleeting spark of motivation. It is a blueprint for reclaiming the sovereignty of your own mind. You were not born with the instinct to shrink. You were shaped into a servant by years of social programming, rewarded for your agreeableness, and trained to treat every thought as a request for permission. You have been conditioned to be a trained pet that twitches at the slightest hint of criticism and waits for an external nod before daring to act. That internal voice that suggests you say sorry before speaking your truth is not your core identity. It is the obedient version of yourself that has kept you caged. To become dangerously confident is to perform a radical act of internal rebellion. It is to silence the pleader and awaken the leader. It requires a shift from seeking to be understood to seeking to be unignorable. True power does not make noise. It arrives with the density of silence and the weight of an immovable gaze. It is the ability to alter the atmosphere of a room simply by appearing, moving as if the space already belonged to you. Not because you were told so, but because you act as if it always did. Phase 1. The psychological descent. The inventory of the diminished self. Before we build the monument of your new identity, we must clear the rubble of the old one. Most people operate on a utility basis. They are gentle, polite, and agreeable. In the eyes of the powerful, such individuals are not respected. They are used, then discarded, then replaced. The first law of your transformation is absolute. If it reduces you, eliminate it. Whether it is a thought pattern of self-doubt, a habit of seeking validation, or a relationship that requires you to play small, it must be erased. You must learn to be feared by your former, weaker self, the version of you that begged to be liked. Practical exercise, the mirror of the unseen war. To begin this transition from the submissive self to the commanding self, you must master the art of non-reactive expansion. The physical anchor. In your next social interaction, identify the urge to soften your presence. This usually manifests as nodding excessively, laughing to break tension, or using filler words. The practice. When you feel the impulse to justify your position or apologize for an opinion, do the opposite. Lock your eyes on the person across from you and remain perfectly still. Do not fidget. Do not tilt your head. The goal. Observe the discomfort that arises within you. That discomfort is the servant within you screaming for approval. By refusing to move, you are starving that servant of its oxygen. You are practicing the stillness that Stoic emperors used to command entire courts. This is not about being aggressive. It is about becoming dense. It is the gravity of your tone and the unshakable nature of your composure that will eventually make others lean in. You are no longer chasing the flow of the room. You are pulling it toward you. The path ahead. In the following sections, we will dismantle the 5 pillars of your current reality and replace them with a strategy for psychological dominance. The law of strategic silence. How to use quiet as a blade rather than a bruise. The Emperor's voice. Rewiring your speech to deliver verdicts instead of suggestions. The Citadel of the mind. Becoming emotionally untouchable and unmanipulatable. The Alchemy of Rejection. Turning dismissal into your greatest source of leverage. The Final Evolution. Living as a presence that requires no permission to exist. You are about to learn how to move with the authority of someone who expects results, not approval. Prepare to vanish into your silence and return as a presence too powerful to deny. Lesson 1. The Law of Strategic Silence. The Architecture of Authority. In the modern world, we are conditioned to believe that the person speaking the loudest or the most frequently is the one in control. We treat conversation like a competition of volume, rushing to fill every gap with noise. But the Stoic woman understands a deeper, more ancient truth. Silence is not a void. It is a manifestation of density. While others scramble to be noticed, performing under the weight of someone else's judgment, the dangerously confident individual uses silence as a tactical blade. Silence is authority. When you walk into a space, your power is not measured by your ability to chatter, but by your ability to observe and absorb. Most people talk to prove themselves or to gain favor, making themselves readable and therefore manageable. But the one who remains quiet is feared because they are unpredictable. They allow others to reveal their insecurities, their needs, and their desperation through their own nervous speech. In the halls of power, it was often the person in the background who barely spoke that held the room's breath. Because when they finally did speak, it wasn't a suggestion. It was a verdict. The philosophy of the unspoken. The difference between being ignored and being felt. There is a profound difference between the silence of the timid and the stillness of the powerful. The timid person is silent because they are afraid to be heard. The powerful person is silent because they have nothing to prove. This is the apex predator mindset. They do not rush or interrupt. They wait. When you refuse to fill the silence, you disrupt the certainty of those around you. You force them to reckon with your presence. By withdrawing the social lubricant of constant nodding or polite mm-hms, you pull the energy of the room toward yourself. You are no longer following the flow. You are the anchor around which the room must adjust. Expanding the depth. The mirror of the Citadel. To master this lesson, you must view your mind as a citadel. Every word you speak is a gate opening. If you leave the gates open constantly, your territory is easily invaded and mapped. By practicing restraint, you protect your inner world and maintain an aura of mystery that commands respect. Consider the Emperor's gaze. It is a look that does not seek validation or scan for acceptance. It is steady, grounded, and deliberate. When you look at someone without the need to smile or break the tension, you are signaling that your reality is not up for discussion. You are demonstrating that you are no longer competing. You have already chosen yourself. Practical exercises. The discipline of stillness. To transform these philosophical concepts into a dangerous reality, you must engage in physical and psychological training. Exercise 1. The 3-second threshold. In your next professional or social encounter, apply a strict delay rule to your responses. The action. When someone finishes speaking or asks you a question, count to 3 slowly in your head before answering. The mechanics. Maintain a neutral, composed expression and steady eye contact during these 3 seconds. The effect. This brief void forces the other person to sit with their own words. It signals that you are calculating, not reacting. It removes the urgency from your rhythm and instantly elevates your status in the hierarchy. Exercise 2. Eliminating the agreement reflex. Social programming has trained many to be agreeable men or women, utilities that are used and then discarded. The action. For 1 entire day, stop nodding your head while others speak. The mechanics. Keep your posture still and your chin level. If you agree with a point, state it later with words, but do not offer the trained pet response of physical twitching for approval. The effect. You will notice how much energy you usually spend trying to make others feel comfortable. By reclaiming this energy, you become more dense and harder to read. Exercise 3. The verdict statement. Practice stripping your language of its softness and disclaimers. The action. Replace phrases like, "I think maybe we should," or "Does that make sense?" with declarations. The mechanics. Say, "The path forward is X," or simply, "That is incorrect." The effect. Each sentence should land like a conclusion. You are no longer requesting permission to exist. You are delivering conclusions that the world must now adjust to. The Stoic standard. From this moment forward, let this be your standard. Speak with mass, or say nothing at all. True presence isn't measured in decibels, but in the gravity of your composure. When you master silence, your words become concluding strikes rather than opening pleas. Lesson 2. The Emperor's Voice. The architecture of verbal command. Speech is not merely a tool for communication. It is an act of strategic positioning. Most people speak as if they are requesting a temporary license to occupy the air, their voices trailing off into questions or punctuated by nervous laughter. To the Stoic thinker, however, power resides less in the content of the words and more in the undeniable weight of their delivery. If your tone carries the resonance of conviction, others will assume your correctness. But if you sound unsure, they will tune you out, not because your logic is flawed, but because your hesitation signals a lack of value. An emperor's voice is not characterized by volume or aggression. It is measured, absolute, and grounded in a frequency that suggests you are used to being followed. You must learn to speak as if your words are conclusions, not mere opinions up for negotiation. The anatomy of the submissive voice, identifying the leaks in your authority. Before you can command a room, you must identify the habits that currently signal servant rather than leader. There are specific vocal markers that reveal an internal plea for acceptance. The rising inflection, ending statements on a high note, making every declaration sound like a question. The softening preamble, using disclaimers like, "I'm just sharing," "I might be wrong," or "maybe this doesn't make sense." The rapid pace, speaking quickly to avoid taking up too much time, which signals a belief that your thoughts are an intrusion. Filler saturation, using and like to bridge the gap between thoughts, revealing a fear of the silence that follows a statement. In the realm of power, frequent talking is not a sign of strength. It is exposure. The more you speak, the more opportunities you provide for others to dissect your reasoning or lose respect for your presence. The mechanics of the verdict. How to speak with mass. To transform your voice into a weapon of influence, you must adjust the density of your tone. True presence is measured by the gravity that makes people lean in, an unshakable composure that commands attention without raising a decibel. The grounded pitch. Drop your pitch and remove the urgency from your rhythm. Speak like someone who has seen it all and requires no external validation. The finality of the sentence. State what you mean and leave it in the air. Do not offer escape routes for the timid. Close them. The refusal to justify. When pushed, do not explain or elaborate. A simple, "I don't agree" or "that's incorrect" is far more chilling and effective than a long-winded defense. It sends the message that your reality is not up for discussion. Practical exercise, the verbal citadel. To rewire your identity, you must practice the verdicts over ideas method in low-stakes environments before applying it to your endgame. Phase 1. The omission challenge. For the next 48 hours, commit to stripping all softness from your speech. The action. Remove every just, maybe, and I think from your vocabulary. The practice. Instead of saying, "I just think we might want to consider this," say, "This is the most effective path." The goal. To observe how the world reacts when you refuse to provide an exit for your thoughts. Phase 2. The controlled cadence. Practice speaking at 70% of your normal speed. The action. Deliberately slow your rhythm and lower your tone. The practice. In a meeting or conversation, wait for the other person to finish. Count a full beat and then deliver your sentence in a steady, grounded cadence. The goal. To signal that you are the one defining the energy and pace of the room, rather than reacting to it. Phase 3. The pivot defense. When someone interrupts or challenges you, do not rush to regain the floor. The action. Stop speaking immediately and look at them with a neutral, focused gaze. The practice. Once they finish, do not address their point directly if it is a distraction. Simply say, "That's a separate issue. Let's return to the conclusion," and continue as if the interruption never occurred. The goal. To demonstrate that your focus is immovable and that you are not a trained pet that twitches at criticism. The finality of speech. Your delivery is your real message. Words are merely the surface. When you talk as if refusal isn't an option, people stop examining your reasoning and begin to yield to the pressure of your conviction. You're not hoping to be acknowledged. You are speaking as someone who couldn't care less if others agree, because eventually they will. Lesson 3. The Citadel of the Mind. Achieving psychological immutability. Certainty without emotional discipline is a facade. You can master the posture and the voice, but if a single insult can provoke you, or a stray compliment can make you melt, you are not powerful, you are manageable. The Stoic perspective teaches that true liberation comes from conquering the internal war within your own head. To be dangerously confident is to become a citadel, a place where emotions are felt but never allowed to dictate action unless they serve a specific endgame. Most individuals are laughably easy to manipulate because their emotions belong to everyone but themselves. If someone calls them not enough, they talk endlessly to prove their worth. If someone withdraws affection, they beg to be seen. This is not strength, it is social programming. To break this system, you must reconstruct your identity so that you no longer require the world to decode or validate you. The anatomy of the managed mind. Identifying your emotional leaks. To become untouchable, you must first recognize where you are currently exposed. People who know how to influence your emotions know exactly where to press to gain leverage over you. The validation trap. A deep-seated urge to be understood or recognized, which makes you controllable. The reaction reflex, responding to provocations with immediate defense or anger, revealing exactly what you are protecting. The approval, hunger, a trained pet instinct that twitches at criticism and seeks a nod before acting. A manageable person is discarded the moment their usefulness fades. An immovable person, however, defines their own utility and controls the terms of every engagement. The strategy of the unmoved, calculating the atmosphere. Instead of acting on impulse, the Stoic mind begins to calculate. When someone throws an insult or offers flattery, you do not react. You gather intelligence. You ask, what is the motive? What insecurity are they hiding? What are they trying to extract? Emotional alchemy. Emotions like rage or feeling belittled are real, but they must be converted into tools. Rage becomes momentum for advancement. Being underestimated becomes the fuel for a silent, devastating result. The power of distance. By remaining steady, focused, and unreadable, you eventually force others to stop attempting to manipulate you. They realize you are the one person they cannot influence. Destroying the need to be decoded. You do not exist to be understood by the masses. You exist to shape the environment with precision and purpose. Practical exercises, building the Citadel. Exercise 1. The intel. Pause. In your next conflict or high-stakes conversation, consciously separate the feeling from the response. The action. When you feel the urge to defend yourself against a critique or an insult, remain still and silent. The mechanics. Mentally categorize the attack. Is it a projection, a distraction, or leverage? The goal. To act on nothing unless it furthers your specific goal, turning their strike into your data. Exercise 2. The silence blade. Practice using quiet as a response to emotional withdrawal or silence from others. The action. If someone goes silent to make you feel insecure, do not crumble or beg for attention. The mechanics. Grow colder and more focused on your own tasks. Let the quiet become your blade. The goal. To show that your mind is a citadel, and only those you choose are allowed past the gates. Exercise 3. Eliminating explain speak. For 1 week, refuse to justify your personal decisions or preferences to anyone who does not have direct authority over the outcome. The action. If asked why, give a conclusion rather than a reason. The mechanics. Use phrases like, because it is the best course of action, or I've decided this is how we will proceed. The goal. To crush the reflex to be validated and to start defining the energy of the room yourself. The unignorable core. Once no one can steer your emotions, they are forced to simply witness your moves and quietly dread your next one. You are no longer shaped by opinions. You do the shaping. You become unignorable, not because you are loud, but because you are untouchable where it counts. Lesson 4. The alchemy of rejection, turning dismissal into leverage. Rejection cuts the weak like an open wound, but to the Stoic mind, it is pure intelligence. When you are turned away or excluded, the world is sending you a clear message. You were perhaps too available, too eager to be accepted, or too easy to access. Instead of collapsing inward, you must realize that rejection is not personal. It is positional. It reveals exactly where you stand in their world, and, more importantly, where they now stand in yours. To the dangerously confident, a closed door is not a blow. It is information. It is the fire that shows you what must be frozen, what must be severed, and who must be left behind. You were not turned away. You were redirected toward a version of yourself that never begs for approval. The laws of Stoic repositioning. Rewriting the script of dismissal. When you face rejection, you must apply a specific set of rules to ensure you don't just survive the experience, but use it to ascend. Rule 1. Never show a reaction. The instant you display pain or frustration, the other party has won. A Stoic mind doesn't flinch when a door closes. It simply makes the entire room colder. Rule 2. Pull your presence like a blade. Rejection happens because someone believes they no longer need you. To counter this, you must disappear. Create a deliberate void. No messages, no emotional exits, no explanations. Make them feel the weight of your absence while you rebuild in silence. Rule 3. Change the narrative. Rejection only has power if it appears you were chasing something. Rewrite your internal script. You didn't lose an opportunity. They lost the privilege of your proximity. You were merely studying their behavior to see if they could recognize value. They failed that test. Rejection as a strategic weapon. From clarity to dominance. Rejection slices through the fog of confusion, showing you exactly where your influence hasn't reached yet. This clarity allows you to fine-tune your presence and elevate your value so loudly that those who once ignored you are eventually forced to explain themselves. The goal is never revenge, as revenge is emotional and reactive. Your strength is calculated. You only reappear when your results are undeniable and your presence makes them uneasy. When they inevitably return, and they will, you don't even need to decline them. You have already ascended beyond their level. Practical exercises. The resilience of the Citadel. To master the alchemy of rejection, you must practice the redirected strike. Exercise 1. The zero reaction protocol. In your next instance of being passed over or ignored, even in small social settings, the action: lock your eyes on the person, remain perfectly still, and give a slight neutral nod. The mechanics: do not ask why, or try to justify your worth. The goal: to demonstrate that your reality is not up for discussion, and that their decision has zero impact on your internal state. Exercise 2. The deliberate disappearance. If a professional or personal connection dismisses your value, the action: cut all non-essential communication immediately. The mechanics: do not check in or post thirst for attention content on social media. Become a ghost. The goal: to make your silence speak louder than any argument could. Use this period of invisibility to sharpen your skills and improve your physical and psychological stance. Exercise 3. The data audit. The action: list 3 times you felt rejected in the last month. The mechanics: for each, write down what it revealed about the other person's blindness or your own over-availability. The goal: to transform an emotional memory into a tactical data point for your next move. The redesigned identity. You are not failing when you are rejected. You are being refined. You are learning to move faster, take up more space, and stop softening your delivery. Every no from the world is an invitation to silence the servant within and let the leader rise. Lesson 5. The final evolution. The sovereignty of the unreachable. This transformation was never merely about confidence. It was about the total redesign of your psychological architecture. You are no longer the trained pet that twitches at criticism or waits for a nod of approval to act. You have silenced the internal servant and awakened a leader who does not suggest but directs. This final stage of your evolution is the realization that you belong to no one, and that independence is exactly why you are unforgettable. True power is not a performance. It is a permanent state of being where you define the energy of the room and the world adjusts around you. You have moved from chasing validation to becoming the standard against which others are measured. The pillars of the redesigned self. Integrating strategy into identity. To maintain this apex of power, you must embody 3 core shifts in your daily existence, from seeking to shaping. You no longer walk into rooms hoping to be embraced. You dominate them through your posture, your stillness, and your precision. You define the rules rather than following the flow. From explanation to execution, you have crushed the urge to be understood or decoded. Your actions deliver the blow that your words use to plead for. From reactive to untouchable. You feel the world's attempts to provoke or tempt you, but nothing lands. You remain distant, focused, and unreadable, becoming a citadel that no one can influence. The Stoic apex. Living as the weapon. The powerful do not aim to please. They are deliberate, restrained, and tactical. Your voice is now a rule, not a request. When you speak, it is with the mass of someone who expects obedience and whose reality is not up for discussion. You have become a presence that alters the atmosphere simply by appearing, requiring no permission to lead. Rejection has been rebranded as redirection, a fire that severed what was weak and frozen what was necessary. You have emerged as a person who doesn't need recognition or admiration because you have already chosen yourself. Practical exercise, the final integration. To solidify this evolution, perform the standard setter ritual, the morning command. The action. Before engaging with the world, stand in front of a mirror in total silence for 2 minutes. The mechanics. Observe your reflection without scanning for flaws or seeking a good angle. Simply witness your own presence. The goal. To recognize that you are the primary authority in your life. Remind yourself, I am the weapon, I am the strategy, the social verdict, the action. In every interaction today, be the first to break eye contact only when you are finished with the moment, not when you feel awkward. The mechanics. When you finish speaking a sentence, do not add a filler or a smile to soften it. Let the silence hang. The goal. To train your submissive self to endure the pressure of authority. The evening audit. The action. Review your day and identify one moment where you almost justified yourself, but chose silence instead. The mechanics. If you failed and sought approval, acknowledge it as the servant trying to return and mentally erase that pattern. The goal. To ensure your identity remains solid at the core. The conclusion of the journey. This is not a pep talk. This is your new standard. You have been rebuilt from the inside out, not through feel-good slogans, but through calculated motion and the crushing of self-doubt. You are the one who decides. You are the one who sets the pace. You are the one who stays silent while the entire court stops breathing. Go now and vanish into your silence. When you return, move with the weight of a person who has already won. The world does not need to agree with you. Eventually, it will simply adjust.